Caught my cheating wife with my own father. Now she's pregnant, and nobody knows who should raise the child or what their relationship to me would be. Be me, Alex, 30 years old financial analyst. Finally achieved what I've wanted all my life. Work for large financial company. Stable job, generous salary. Everything clearly planned. Career and personal life. Living with girlfriend Emily for 4 years. Cozy apartment in prestigious area. Planning wedding for next summer. Sure, our relationship is perfect. Life seems to be going according to plan. But sometimes life takes unexpected turns. Emily is my support and best friend. Understands me like no one else. Our life together is harmonious, filled with mutual care. Face difficulties together, always find common solutions. Always dreamed of strong family. With Emily, sure it's possible. Talk about children, plan future. Even discuss honeymoon plans. Wake up every morning next to Emily. Feel like the happiest man in the world. Very successful at work. Promoted to senior analyst in last few years. Responsible for important clients. Financial field is my passion. Devote myself completely to work. But never forget about Emily. Try to spend as much time as possible with her. Thinking a lot about proposing lately. We have everything. Love, mutual understanding, plans together. Decide best time would be upcoming trip to coast, where we spent our first vacation together. Imagine proposing on sandy beach. To sound of waves. Telling her about my feelings. Giving her wedding ring I've already started choosing. But one evening changes everything. Come home earlier than usual. Work meetings end faster. Decide to give Emily pleasant surprise. Buy her favorite flowers and bottle of wine. Hope to spend quiet evening together. Been a while since we relaxed together due to my work. Today seems perfect moment. Enter apartment. Greeted by unusual silence. Emily usually active. Works from home. Often talks on phone or listens to music. But now everything too calm. Walk into living room. Expect to see her working or resting. What I see is real shock. Emily sitting on couch. But not alone. Man beside her, his hand resting on her shoulder. Emily's head tilted slightly to one side, like seeking comfort. Recognize man immediately. It's Harry, my adoptive father. Person who raised me from childhood. By my side in most difficult moments. Always supported me in everything. Harry isn't just father to me. He's mentor, friend. Person I trust more than anyone. Freeze, unable to believe my eyes. Mind refuses to accept what I'm seeing. Whole body tenses as if in danger. Heart begins to beat wildly. Not just shock. Blow to everything I knew and believed. They don't notice me right away. Emily saying something quietly to Harry. He's looking at her with warmth in eyes. Warmth I haven't noticed before. Can't understand it. How could people I trust most betray me like this? My girlfriend and adoptive father, two closest people to me. Doing this behind my back? Voice comes out muffled. As if through thick fog. Try to figure out what's going on. Words fly out involuntarily, without emotions. Simply cannot comprehend what I see. Emily turns head sharply. Harry silently backs away from her. Their faces filled with confusion and shame. Emily tries to say something. But words stuck in her throat. Don't hear her excuses. All sounds suddenly disappear, leaving only emptiness. Emptiness gradually filling my soul. Look at them. Can no longer feel anything but bitter disappointment. Harry, always my role model, doesn't say word either. His gaze fixed on floor. Can't meet my eyes? This silence even more painful than any explanation. Feel my hands shake. Body tense with anger and resentment. Without another word, turn sharply. Leave apartment. Don't know where to go, but can't stay there any longer. Quickly descend stairs without looking back. Flowers and wine left on floor by front door. Symbol of my ruined life. Street greets me with cold evening air. Walk down sidewalk, not paying attention to where feet taking me. Mind full of thoughts mixed into chaotic maelstrom. How could they do that? How could Emily, with whom I made plans for future, and Harry, my adoptive father, betray me? Whole world, which seemed so stable and reliable, suddenly falls into small fragments. Walk down street, feeling heart clench in pain with every step. Don't know how life will go on, but one thing's certain, everything has changed forever. Life begins to lose clear outlines after discovering Emily's betrayal. Every day used to be clearly planned, every action had purpose. Now everything vague and meaningless. Still living in shared apartment. Every corner a reminder of pain experienced. Memories of happy moments now only exacerbate disappointment and pain. Can't find peace of mind in place once happy. Try to muster strength to go to work every morning. Emotional state remains unstable. Continue to perform duties, but can feel productivity diminishing. Concentration becomes main enemy. Every time try to delve into work matters. Thoughts return to events of past weeks. Mentions of betrayal don't allow full restoration of work capacity. Colleagues notice changes in behavior. No one asks unnecessary questions. Becoming more immersed in own experiences, gradually affecting professional duties. Nervous system exhausted, leads to first serious mistake at work. Shortly after finding out about betrayal, management assigns important contract with major sponsor. One of those moments when company's future depends on one signature, usually brilliant at such tasks. This time things go wrong. Lack of focus and inner chaos cause critical mistakes during negotiations. Fail to present financial data correctly. Get confused about facts. Fail to convince sponsors of deal's profitability. Investors begin to doubt company's reliability. Decide to refuse cooperation. Not just failure, blow to professional reputation. Can feel world beginning to crumble further. Under weight of own mistakes. Realize no longer in control of life. Failures not only in personal relationships, but also in professional life. We're always stable and reliable before. Company's management decides can no longer trust with important projects. Lose status worked for years to achieve. No longer have support of colleagues and superiors. Inevitable. After deal falls through, management decides to fire me. Losing job, another unexpected blow. Now left without job, without stability. Seems without future. Release the last straw that finally changes life. Can no longer afford to rent apartment shared with Emily for past 4 years. Financial difficulties force search for another home. Try to find way out of situation for several days. Each option seems worse than last. Have to admit can no longer afford even modest apartment in city center. After long search, find family-type hostel. Renting rooms for temporary accommodation. Far from ideal place, but only option. Room in dormitory, small and simple, without comfort. Old furniture, dull walls, worn carpet on floor. Creates sense of timelessness and emptiness. Only place can afford. Everything brought from former life placed in several small boxes. Only most necessary things. Most of what used to matter has lost meaning. Life in dormitory completely different from what used to. Lack of privacy and constant noise from corridors and neighboring rooms. Prevent finding peace. What depresses most is not physical discomfort, but feeling no longer in control of life. Each day similar to previous. Empty hours in cramped room. Thoughts about past. Fruitless attempts to find way out of situation. All plans for future built over past years now seem distant and unreal. Can feel life slowly falling apart. No longer have goal. Don't know how to move forward. After losing job and home shared with Emily. Self-confidence gone. Difficult to accept reality in which found myself. Once successful man with stable life and career. Now sit in small dorm room. Trying to figure out what to do next. Feelings of loneliness and uncertainty haunt every day. No longer see clear path ahead. Don't know if we'll ever be able to return to life had before. All usual landmarks lost. Now have to start all over again. But even this task seems impossible. Life built for years crumbled, leaving behind only emptiness and pain. Realize can't sit without work any longer after few weeks in dormitory. Search for new job turns out much more difficult than expected. Despite experience and achievements in financial field. Face fact that no company ready to hire. Send resumes to various places. Hope to get at least one chance. Almost no responses. Companies that respond politely refuse after first interviews. Can't understand what's happening. Professional qualities always at high level. Until few months ago was one of best analysts in company. Now seems all achievements erased. Repeatedly review resume. Try to find reason for rejections. Find nothing. Professional experience rich. Recommendations seem good. But doctor closed in front. Situation begins to clear up. One potential employer carefully hints at bad reputation on job market. Turns out former boss, Mr. Trainer, wrote very negative profile after firing. Letter accompanying resume noted all mistakes made on last project. Hinted at unstable emotional state. Mr. Trainer actively circulated characteristic to colleagues at other companies. Warned that not reliable employee. Explains why candidacy constantly rejected, even when had excellent chances. Amazed at level of hostility from former boss. Understood failed important contract, but didn't expect this level of hostility. Reputation built over years now destroyed by one negative characteristic. Everything tried to do seems futile. Feel trapped in trap with no way out. Even best qualities as professional now in doubt because of letter. Each new day of job hunting another blow to confidence. Every rejection or no response, feeling of hopelessness only grows. Understand past achievements now irrelevant. Reputation and job market destroyed. Everything once had now destroyed. Both career and personal life. Money running out. In few months without job, spent almost all savings. Dormitory currently living in cheap option. But even that already short of funds. Can no longer afford to live way had before. Increasingly, feel pressure of financial difficulties. Moments when seriously think about what to do next. Left with no other options. With no job and ruined reputation. Feel driven into dead end. Realize can no longer wait until hired in profession. Need any job to pay for housing and buy food? After several weeks of unsuccessful searching in finance field, decide to accept any job, even if doesn't meet qualifications. Look at job postings never would have considered before. Finally find option, job as warehouse loader. Hard physical work, nothing to do with previous career. Work consists of moving goods, packing cargo, helping with logistics. Salary minimal, but only option left. Hesitate for long time before deciding on this step. In end realize no other choice. First days at warehouse difficult. Not used to such work. Feel physically tired after only few hours. Loads have to carry heavy. Working conditions not too comfortable. Work shifts last 10 to 12 hours. After few days, body begins to feel constant pain. But despite this, feel certain relief. Finally able to earn money, at least for bare necessities. No longer feel completely helpless. Even though job doesn't bring any satisfaction, working as loader, have a lot of time to think. Still can't quite come to terms with fact career in finance ended so suddenly and painfully. Sense of injustice haunts. Worked on reputation for years. Invested all strength in professional activities. Now, because of one mistake, name ruined forever. Can no longer allow to think about what happened in past. New life requires new decisions, albeit simple ones. Have to find way to survive in conditions that seem completely alien. Begin to realize, now have to start all over again. All plans and ambitions disappeared along with previous life. No longer successful analyst on whom high hopes were placed. Now just one of many working minimum wage, trying to make ends meet. New life that requires new decisions and new efforts. With each new working day, feel more alienated from life considered own. Physical labor draining. Unlike previous career, doesn't give sense of accomplishment or satisfaction. Every warehouse shift a challenge. Return to dorm room completely exhausted. New life limited to work and short hours of rest spent in solitude. Aware that past will not return. Now one of those living paycheck to paycheck. No big plans for future. World reduced to few simple things. Need to work to pay for housing, food, basic necessities. Each day same as day before. No longer see clear path forward. Dreams and plans, once top priorities, now seem like distant illusion. Understand now forced to fight for survival in completely different conditions. No place for ambition or high hopes. All have to do is move forward, not thinking about what lost. Try to find new meaning in this new life. Far from perfect, but gives chance to start from scratch. Alex Jenkins has always been alone, even when Emily by side or felt support of adoptive father. Emptiness in heart. Grew up in orphanage. Affected character and outlook. From early age, knew couldn't rely on anyone but self. Didn't know biological parents. Never seen them. Childhood memories full of loneliness and struggle for survival. Cold world of orphanage. Every day a test. Only person who gave chance for better life was Harry, foster father. Harry took Alex when 11. Happened when boy had almost lost hope of ever having real family. Harry gave home, education, opportunity to believe world could be kinder. But now, after everything that happened, can't think about him without feeling betrayed and disgusted. Man thought of his father shattered life, turning into enemy in own eyes. No friends to confide in. No family to support in time of need. Orphan and remained so, even when life seemed finally stable. After losing job and forced to move to dormitory, in situation where couldn't ask anyone for help. Alone and knew had to cope with everything without outside support. Everyday struggle for survival. Continue to work as porter, making minimum wage. Not enough to make ends meet. Money running out faster than could earn. Forced to look for extra jobs. Small temporary jobs. Mostly manual labor others wouldn't accept. Because of low pay or harsh conditions. Don't refuse any opportunity, just to increase income a little. All this time, avoid thinking about past. Try to forget Emily. Avoid memories of life built together. More try to escape thoughts. More often they return. At night, when returned to small dormitory room after hard day's work. These thoughts haunt. Life became endless circle of disappointments and failures. One day, come home from work. Aimlessly scrolling through social media. Stumble upon post that makes heart skip beat. Emily's post. She looks happy and smiling as always, but caption under photo ruins it completely. Emily announces she's pregnant, and in addition, writes about receiving marriage proposal from Harry, adoptive father. Everything trying to forget suddenly explodes in all its brutality. News stuns. Feel heart clench with pain and anger. Turns out their relationship did not just end in betrayal. Much worse. Emily, now carrying child. Harry, man once thought of as father, replaced him in her life. Can't believe what's seeing on screen? Seems like terrible dream about to wake up from. But it's reality. Feel wave of rage mixed with helplessness rise in soul. Sit on bed in cramped room, staring at photo. Can't find answer to question of how this could happen. No longer have strength to fight emotions. Bitterness of loss and betrayal seems too much. Everything built over years destroyed. Left without support, without hope of rebuilding life. Condition worsens even more after seeing news. Begin to seek oblivion in alcohol. At first, few beers after work to relieve tension. But every day, alcohol becomes bigger part of life. No, it won't solve problems, but only thing that gives temporary relief from pain. Every evening, return from work. Buy another bottle and try to silence thoughts. Alcohol becomes means of escape from reality. No longer see point in trying to find way out of situation. Life seems hopeless and future empty. Feel lost and don't know how to get back to who was before. Every time think of Emily and Harry, soul fills with excruciating pain. Only way to escape that pain is to drink more. Sink deeper into abyss of loneliness and disappointment. New life no longer has purpose. Don't see how that could be changed. Working as porter becomes increasingly heavy burden. Each day seems like endless cycle of physical fatigue and emotional exhaustion. Life no longer has stability or confidence in future. Alcohol gradually becomes constant companion. Only means that gives at least temporary relief. Each sip helps forget for short time about betrayal, past, and fact no longer have life once built. Emily's social media post final straw. Can't accept ex-girlfriend, now carrying child by man believed to be father. Brain refuses to realize it, but heart aches more and more. Trying to escape these thoughts through alcohol only makes situation worse. After each drunk bottle comes not oblivion, but even greater emptiness. Every time think about future, seems even more bleak. No, won't be able to return to previous life, but don't see any opportunity to start new one. Feel completely broken, alienated from world and people around. Every day becomes struggle with self, and every time lose in this struggle. Alcohol can't solve problems but continue to drink. Don't know how else to deal with pain. No friends or family to turn to. Childhood and orphanage taught not to rely on anyone but self. But now left alone with all failures and pain, no longer have strength to fight. Life that once seemed so promising now turned into hopeless existence. Every day, plunge deeper into alcohol addiction, trying to find at least temporary salvation. But relief short-lived, and pain only grows. Life gradually turns into continuous series of gray days. Each morning seems harder than last. Physical labor in warehouse eventually becomes so habitual, no longer even brings fatigue, only emptiness. Feel that life losing any meaning, only solace remains alcohol. Gives temporary relief from constant thoughts and pain. But each time have to drink more and more to forget at least for few hours. New acquaintances made at work mostly ordinary workers like me. Most also went through life's difficulties. Understand what going through, see how gradually coming to self. How condition worsening every day. Try to help somehow. Several colleagues started hinting, should consult psychologist. Say working with specialists could help deal with emotions. Find strength to move on. But just brush off their advice. Know that even if wanted to use such help, don't have money for it. Psychologist luxury can no longer afford. All finances go to paying for room in dormitory and food. Even these funds barely enough. Continue to close in on self, refusing to look for way out of situation, consuming more and more. One evening after work, get back to hostel. Decide to make some tea in communal kitchen. Physically and mentally exhausted. Only thing on mind is to lie down and try to sleep. In kitchen, besides me, another person, woman who lives on same floor, looks older than me, always warm and friendly, although never talked more than about everyday things. This time, probably because of my appearance, woman asks how I'm doing. Hesitate at first, but then begin to answer. Life so empty and difficult. Conversation with someone, even short and superficial, seems to some extent a relief. Woman turns out to be interesting interlocutor. Doesn't just ask questions, but listens carefully. Unexpectedly begin to tell more than intended. Find out her name is Linda. Works as psychologist. About 50 years old. Lot of experience working with people going through various difficulties in life. Can see clearly going through difficult time. Although don't say directly. Linda can clearly see signs of depression and emotional exhaustion. Experienced specialist and understands need help. After long conversation, Linda cautiously offers support. Understands can't afford paid sessions of psychologist. but sincerely wants to help, explains has seen such cases many times, knows how important for person in such condition to receive support. Offer to help completely selfless. Offers to hold free consultations on days when both can find time. Initially surprised by offer. Never thought someone could help just like that. Without any demands or expectations. Difficult to trust. After all events in life, lost faith in people. But Linda's words sound sincere. In her eyes, see something haven't felt in long time. Human care. Gradually begin to realize maybe should really try to take advantage of opportunity. Agree to help, although not sure it could change life. Ready to try anything, just to feel at least little relief from oppressive emptiness. Understand that solitary efforts did not bring results. Decide to give chance to person who sincerely wants to help. Linda promises to work slowly and gradually without rushing. Important to her that feel comfortable and can open up as much as comfortable with unexpected and timely support. Gives hope that maybe could still find way and recover from all losses. Returning to room that evening, feels certain sense of relief. Not sure if will really help. But for first time in long time, don't feel completely alone in problems. Talking to Linda first step towards starting to fight for life. Although road long and uncertain, feel that perhaps all not lost. After that evening, when agreed to help Linda, life begins to gradually change. Continue to work as porter, earning living through hard physical labor. But now have hope that things could change. Linda turns out to be not only neighbor, but also light in darkness that haven't felt for long time. She sincerely tries to help. Trust her more and more, although not easy at first. Sessions take place regularly. After work, come over to Linda's. Talk in her small dorm room. She always offers tea or coffee. Then quietly and calmly asks how I'm doing. Her method not to force to change quickly, but to give chance to express myself. With each new meeting, reveal myself more and more. Begin to talk about things kept to myself for past months. Emily's betrayal, loss of job, ruined career, and loneliness that always haunted me. Linda doesn't rush me. Gives space and time to think about everything that happened. Understand my feelings. Her calm and balanced approach helps find balance. Haven't felt for long time. Each of our meetings becomes island of stability in world that had long since collapsed. During these sessions, begin to learn more about Linda herself. Her life had not been easy. Experienced deep losses more than once. Similar to ones now facing, turns out she never had children, although once really wanted to. Had tragedy many years ago. Was pregnant and already waiting for birth of child. But during childbirth, unforeseen situation happened. Her child died before it could see the world. This loss was blow for her. Couldn't recover for long time. Tragedy destroyed not only maternal hopes, but also marriage. Her husband, unable to bear pain of loss, moved away from her. Tried to save relationship, but in end all ended in divorce. Linda decided to leave hometown, where every corner reminded of loss. Moved to new place to try to start over. Impressed with her story. Could never have thought person who seemed so strong and wise had ever experienced such tragedy herself. However, this experience helped Linda understand my pain. She knows what loss is, how difficult it is to start life from scratch. When it seems that everything is lost, Linda doesn't talk about it often, but her eyes and voice as she speaks convey deep sadness. Must have stayed with her for rest of life. This story makes our interaction even more open. No longer feel so alien and alone in my pain. Realize that not only I face losses and disappointments in life, other people also experience similar difficulties. Realize that even after great tragedies, can find strength to live on, even though it seems impossible. Linda becomes for me not just psychologist, but someone much bigger. Person who, without any obligation, shows willingness to support in most difficult moment of life. Her selfless help becomes source of inspiration. Begin to feel that maybe I too could find strength to start over, as Linda had done after her loss. Conversations with her make me think about future. For first time in long time, begin to think about how could change life. Not easy. Wounds still very fresh. Pain of betrayal and loss not receded. But now have example in front of me. Example of person who survived tragedy. Found strength to live on. Each new session with Linda opens new perspectives. She helps not only to understand what's happening inside, but also to find ways to cope with these emotions. Talk about importance of accepting own feelings, even most painful ones, giving yourself time to heal. Linda stresses that everyone has own path to recovery. Not quick process, but main thing is not to lose faith in yourself. Begin to understand that life not over yet, even if it seemed hopeless now. Know there are still many difficult days ahead. But now have support, although situation difficult, feel no longer alone in struggle. Linda helps see that even after darkest times there can be light, now ready to fight for that light. With each new session, feel more and more how life gradually emerging from chaos. Found myself in after Emily's betrayal and loss of job. Linda becomes not only support but also real guide, helps find way back to myself. Calm, balanced, and always attentive to every word. Helps understand feelings, find inner strengths long forgotten about. Feel can be myself around her, without masks and fear. This feeling of freedom and trust, new and unexpected. Gradually, meetings become more informal. Don't just talk about my problems. Linda begins to talk more about her life, experiences, and losses. Conversations turn into real dialogue between two people who shared their life experiences. Feel that Linda not only gives advice, but also makes me feel comfortable around her. This creates special bond between us. Begin to look forward to these meetings. Understand that interaction no longer limited to therapeutic framework. Linda becomes important person for me. Her presence and support bring relief from those deep emotional wounds, until recently considered incurable. But over time, begin to notice that feelings for her changing. What was initially gratitude and respect begins to develop into deeper emotional attachment. Think about Linda more and more outside of sessions. Marvel at her strength, wisdom, and warmth, which she shows even in most difficult moments of her life. Impressed by her ability to deal with pain and loss, begin to admire her not only as professional, but also as woman. At first, try to suppress these feelings, considering them inappropriate, because there's big age difference between us. But every day, pay less and less attention to this fact. Understand that it's not important how old we are, but what we feel and how we understand each other. Thoughts of Linda begin to haunt me. Can no longer hide from myself that have fallen in love with her. This feeling becomes real discovery. See nothing wrong with feeling more than just friendly sympathy for her. For me, Linda is the one person who understood me in darkest period of life. Don't want to keep it to myself anymore. But doubts still don't leave me. Know that there are many difficulties in our relationship. First of all, it concerned difference in age, which could cause misunderstanding, both in myself and in others. Begin to be cautious about sharing thoughts with colleagues at work. They had long noticed that something had changed in my behavior. Had asked several times about relationship with Linda. Do not hide that regularly visit her for consultations. But over time, words about her began to take on different tone. Spoke of Linda with such warmth and respect. Friends at work quickly realized that feelings went beyond usual psychologist-patient relationship. Some of them took it with disbelief. Repeatedly hinted that such relationship could be problematic. They didn't like age difference. Said I was just looking for replacement for lost Emily, an older woman, to help get through difficult times. One colleague even said it looked like addiction, not love. But dismiss such thoughts. Or know very well that feelings are sincere. See nothing wrong with them, despite fact that friends tried to dissuade from further actions. Confident in myself. Don't think age difference matters when it comes to true feelings. Linda understands me like no one else could. Her support, care, and wisdom have done more for me than any other relationship in life. Feel willing to be there for her no matter what others say. However, deep down, still hesitant. Understand that Linda might not share my feelings or be ready for such relationship. Our interactions have always been open and honest, but don't know how she would react if confessed feelings. This question bothers more and more. Don't want to risk friendship and trust built over months. But at the same time, can't hold it in any longer. Begin to think about how and when could talk to Linda about feelings. Do not want to take hasty steps. Understand that have to be careful, but every time see her, heart beats faster. No, can't ignore what feeling anymore. In end, decide that there's no point in hiding feelings. Want to be honest with myself and with Linda. Decision final. No matter how she reacts, have to tell her truth. Our relationship became so important. Can no longer go on living without revealing true feelings. Although there's risk of losing this closeness. Know that have to try. Life, which had just begun to gain clarity thanks to sessions with Linda, suddenly plunges back into chaos. One day, get home from work. While checking email, see new message. At first appears to be ordinary spam. Sender anonymous text of letter begins with words initially want to ignore. But when eyes catch on to content, feel heart start to beat faster. Cold sweat covers palms. Message claims that Linda, woman been seeing for several months, actually my biological mother, at first dismiss idea as absurd. But letter contains some evidence that stuns me. There are dates, names, facts never discussed with her, but which coincide with own story. Describe circumstances that correspond to what know about birth and life in orphanage. Message isn't long, but contains enough details to throw me off balance. Learn that Linda was forced to leave child due to difficult life circumstances, and this was biggest loss of her life. Letter contains information that might have seemed fabricated, if it weren't for fact that only knew some of these details from very limited sources. In addition, letter mentions medical documents never seen, but which, according to author, confirmed family connection. At first, simply cannot believe what read, look at letter several times, trying to find logical explanation as to why someone would send such information. Maybe it was joke or someone's evil intention, but I think more details begin to come together. Feelings for Linda, our relationship, deep connection felt from beginning, now look completely different. Sit in small room, overcome with terror and confusion. Thoughts quickly jumbled in head. Don't know how to react to this news. Everything felt for Linda now seems wrong and distorted. How could fall in love with person who may be mother? And why did Linda never tell if it was true? World, which had just begun to take on new meaning, falls apart again. Heart beating fast and mind can't stop. Try to figure out what to do next, but there are no answers. Can't go to Linda and ask directly because fear and shame closing in. Feel betrayed, but at same time can't blame her, because not sure it's true. Only emptiness and uncertainty remain, which consume thoughts. In state of absolute helplessness, do what had long become usual reaction to pain. Go on binge, for week. Completely shut off from rest of world. Alcohol becomes only way to forget, only possibility to escape from this unbearable reality. Do not go to work, do not answer calls of friends, and do not open door. Room where live turns into closed capsule, where there are only me and alcoholic oblivion. Each day merges with previous one. No longer see point in fighting. Everything built was destroyed. Feelings for Linda now seem perverted. And she herself, person who hid truth from me. But worst thing is that cannot find answer. Don't know how to verify this information. And not even sure if want to. Can't imagine meeting Linda after learning about possible family connection. Alcohol helps to dull pain and fear for a while. But when effect of alcohol wears off, everything comes back with new force. Don't know how to handle this situation. Feel as if life has lost all meaning. All plans, all hopes that had just begun to be born. Now crossed out by one anonymous message. Binge last week. Stop leaving room even to eat or chat with neighbors. Life turns into endless cycle of self-destruction, where each day like last. Don't even try to find explanation or verify truth of what read. Inner chaos and pain of realization of possible family connection with Linda completely paralyze me. No one knows what's going on. Do not open door and do not come into contact with outside world. Friends at work try to contact several times, but without success. Phone remains switched off. Mail piles up with new messages that don't even look at. World around no longer matters. All that remains is endless immersion in alcohol and attempts to escape from this terrible truth. See no way out. Cannot imagine how could live on with what learned. True or not, it doesn't matter. Because it's knowledge of possible connection with Linda that destroys from inside. Feel lost, devastated and completely broken. And now only companion remains alcohol. Spend week on non-stop binge. Isolate self from whole world, losing all sense of time and reality. After receiving anonymous letter suggesting Linda could be biological mother, completely confused, news turned world upside down, leaving only pain and confusion. Running away from reality and hiding behind bottle seemed only way out. One morning, when alcohol can no longer drown out suffering, trying to avoid real problems, pick up phone and start scrolling through social media, body tired and mind clouded. No intention of paying attention to what's happening around, until photo appears on screen that makes heartbeat faster again. It's picture of Emily. She's holding newborn baby in arms, face glowing with tenderness, although obvious she's tired. Something about image immediately catches attention, forcing to focus. Seemingly ordinary photo that could have simply ignored now causes deep concern. Look intently into face of child, lying in arms of woman once dreamed of starting family with, suddenly struck. Child looks surprisingly similar to self in childhood. At first cannot believe eyes. Seems like just figment of imagination. Because after all events, mind full of confusion, but longer look at photo. More convinced resemblance real. Child's face reminds of own childhood photos. Ones that remained in memory, even though no physical evidence of past due to being an orphanage. Guesses intensify and heart sinks with painful feeling that this child could be mine. Read caption of photo. Every word increases anxiety. Emily writes that newborn baby has serious congenital diagnosis. Requires immediate and expensive surgery. Desperation sounds in her words. Asks for financial help from all acquaintances. Reread it several times, trying to make sense of everything going on. Not only see resemblance between self and child, but now know that child fighting for life. Seems whole world has come crashing down once again, only now with new force. Mind racing with questions. Could this child be mine? If so, why did Emily never tell? And most importantly, what's supposed to do now? Feelings mixed. Anger, anxiety, fear, and overwhelming desire to help this child. Not sure of suspicions yet, but every instinct says it's not just coincidence. Can't find peace after reading post. Too weak from long drinking, but thoughts focused on one thing, the child. Look over photo again and again, trying to find something that would confirm or disprove suspicions. But similarity alone not enough for final conclusions. No, have to learn more. However, don't know if ready to take that step and contact Emily. Long ago crossed out everything that connected past. But now this past has again persistently reminded of itself. For several days, try to decide what to do next. Doubts eating from inside. Can't just ignore situation. But not sure ready to face it head on either. For now, decide to take more cautious step. Through mutual acquaintances, try to learn more about circumstances Emily and her child found themselves in. What learn causes to finally lose ground. Turns out her new husband, Harry, my adoptive father, has left Emily when learned about serious diagnosis of newborn child. Did not want to take responsibility and simply left, leaving Emily alone with sick child and huge financial problems. For me, this news new blow. Harry, man once respected and considered father, betrayed again, only this time by one once loved. Can't believe what's happening. How could you do that? How could Harry, someone known all life, leave Emily with baby at such critical time? And what if this child really mine? How could leave her alone with this problem? Anger and disappointment mingle in soul with sense of guilt. That self knew nothing about this situation. Now feel its duty to help. Can't stay away, knowing that child, if that's true, fighting for life. Suspicions grow and can no longer ignore what feel. But fear and uncertainty continue to bind. Understand that action necessary, but do not know how to take first step. Gradually develop plan. Decide that first step will be to find out truth. Need to understand if this child really mine. And if so, we'll have to take responsibility for this situation. At same time, feel can no longer afford to run away from problems as done before. Child needs help, and have to at least try to do what's right. No going to have difficult conversation with Emily, and possibly difficult decisions ahead. Not sure how she'll react to coming into her life after everything that happened, but now can no longer stand aside. Instincts say that this moment will be decisive in life. Need to find out truth, regardless of what it turns out to be. Several days pass since learned of Emily's new baby's illness and Harry's betrayal. Emotional state remains complicated. Still cannot find strength to take decisive action. Realization that child could be mine growing stronger, but at same time feel inner chaos because of anonymous letter about Linda. Situation with Linda's possible family connection has left devastated and confused, forcing to reevaluate life and question everything once believed to be true. Linda does not understand why suddenly stopped communication. After stopped coming to sessions and avoided meetings, she began to worry. Conversations were open, deep, and she felt we had grown closer. But sudden silence worries her. Linda knows something is up, but doesn't know what. Used to trust her with feelings, shared deepest feelings, so now she can't ignore it. One evening, when did not show up for work for several days, Linda decides to go to me. Doesn't know how we'll react, but can't wait any longer. Knocks on door of room, hoping for answer. Don't want to open it first. Emotional state still shaky. Don't know if ready to talk to her after all learned. But something in her voice, caring and persistent, makes change mind. Slowly open door, looking tired and exhausted. Linda immediately knows something serious has happened. Gaze shows deep inner struggle that can no longer hide. Silently invite her in. She carefully steps over threshold, feeling tension in room slowly build. Room dimly lit, full of sense of suffocation and hopelessness. Linda watches carefully, not wanting to pressure. Knows need to decide for self when and how to share what's bothering. Sit on bed, holding phone in hands and direct gaze to screen. After short pause, say quietly that there's something she needs to see. Show her same email that changed life. Linda doesn't understand what it's talking about at first until she starts reading. Her face gradually changes from surprise to shock. She rereads lines of letter several times, trying to understand what it all means. It claims that Linda is biological mother. Contains compelling evidence of that fact that hard to ignore. Dates, facts, circumstances, all indicates they could be relatives. Linda can't believe what she's reading. So stunned that at first can't even say word. This information changes her whole life. feels world begin to shrink around her and mind filled with questions. Doesn't know how to react, because never even suspected that Alex could be son, lost years ago. After a moment of silence, noticed tears starting to roll down her cheeks. Linda cannot contain emotions. Too much information to simply accept, sinks down on chair that stood nearby. Covering face with hands, begins to cry quietly. Watch her, feeling heavy weight lift on soul as well. Both sit in room immersed in thoughts and feelings, not knowing how to properly react to what's happening. Gradually, feel tears welling up in own eyes, can no longer hold all emotions that accumulated over these weeks inside. Heart filled with pain, anger, and confusion, eventually begin to cry as feel all built-up tension coming out. Tears last long time. Emotional explosion that had been building up in both for all these months. Linda feels heartbreak at realization that finally found son she once forced to leave behind. Like blow to her, never thought that life could return in such unexpected way. Remembers time when young and made difficult decisions that seemed to be only way out. Now all this comes back with incredible force. At loss for words, feel incredible pain that everything in life suddenly becomes so complicated and confusing. Feel devastated that person started to feel deeply for turned out to be mother. Don't know how to deal with it, or if can even accept this new reality. Inner world once again destroyed, leaving only emptiness and pain. Long time before Linda finally able to speak, her voice shaky, but she struggles to find words to express feelings. Says she needs to figure it all out. Too unexpected and painful for her. Linda never thought would meet son like this. Now her world has turned upside down just like mine, both on verge of emotional breakdown, but at same time united by this unexpected truth. Understand that she needs more time, as well as myself. This news changed relationship forever. Both need time to accept it and figure out how to move on. Feel that this moment became turning point in life. Now everything has changed. Many difficult decisions and conversations waiting for us. After learned about illness of Emily's child, inner world changed forever. Something in me that had been suppressed for a long time finally woke up. Although still devastated by recent events with Linda and our discovery, thought of possible paternity haunts. Every time remember face of child in photo, feel overwhelming sense of responsibility. Can't stay away any longer. If this child really mine, then have to do something. Even if she wasn't biological child. Can't ignore fact that she needed help. Having overcome doubts, decide to act, know that Emily lonely, and that Harry had left her. She now alone with sick child who needed immediate surgery. Expensive, much more than she could afford. While not sure about financial situation, no can't just stand by. Child fighting for life and have to try to do everything could to help. First step, contact bank. Decide to take out loans. Clearly understand that risky move, because financial condition far from stable. But despite all doubts and warnings of bank employee about possible consequences, still take out several loans, hoping that this would help collect necessary amount. This money lot for me, but even collected amount not enough to pay for operation. When realized that not enough, begin to reach out to friends. Although haven't been on close terms with many for long time. Due to isolation during depression and alcoholism, now have no other choice. Ashamed to ask for help, but situation with child so difficult that do not hesitate. Begin calling and writing to those once considered close. Explain situation, ask for financial support, but mostly receive only small amounts or refusals. Friends do not have much wealth. Even those who tried to help could not give enough money. Despite best efforts, total amount far from what needed. Sit in room looking at funds collected. Realize that not even half of amount needed for operation. Time running out and child needs immediate medical attention. Despair begins to overtake. At dead end and all efforts seem to be in vain. Then idea begins to arise in head, which at first seems absolutely radical, but over time becomes more and more real. Heard of people who, in desperation, sold parts of bodies, kidney or another organ, to save themselves or loved ones. Idea seems wild, dangerous, but at same time, only way to raise enough money quickly. See no other way out. At first try to dismiss thought, but every day it comes back more and more often. Imagine over and over how Emily's baby suffering because of lack of help. How inaction could result in her not getting surgery needed. Decide to take this radical step. Selling kidney now seems not just risky decision, but only real possibility to save child. Begin to learn how to do this. Illegal and dangerous, but ready to do anything. Manage to find several dubious sources of information. Indicate possibility of selling kidney for large sum of money. Understand that involves great risk to life and health. But now have no other choice. Life already chaotic and broken. Feel that losing kidney small price to pay for chance to save child. This thought gradually absorbs completely. Weigh all possible consequences, but continue to move forward. Resolve strengthened when see another photo of baby on Emily's social media, in which baby looked even weaker than before. Have no choice but to make this decision. Understand that operation on child should take place in near future, and time was running out. Begin to draw up all necessary documents to officially perform operation to remove kidney. Don't care what happened after that. All could think about was saving life of little child who could have been mine. Decision final. Alex, now facing important moment in life, does not know what will happen next, but ready for all consequences. Plan risky and almost hopeless, but can't stand by and let child die for lack of funds. Selling kidney seems like only way out. Take this step with all determination capable of, after going through incredible emotional and physical pain, finally made decision that would change life forever. Know that selling kidney last resort, but no other options left. Emily's baby needs immediate surgery and time of essence. Believe that no amount of money or personal comfort could compare to life of infant who might have been own child. Decision final and unwavering. Organization of operation to remove kidney turns out to be difficult and risky. Turn to illegal structures. Process fills with new fear, but no can't turn back. Ready for anything, just to collect necessary amount to save child's life. Although situation frightening, feel certain determination that cannot be shaken. Everything once planned for future put on back burner. Now only goal to raise enough money to give child chance of survival. Day of operation arrives. Can feel everything inside tightening with fear. Doctors who agreed to perform operation are professionals, but aware that all happening within shadow market. Try not to think about what could go wrong. For me, main thing is one thing. Result will get, no will lose part of myself, both physically and mentally, but ready for this sacrifice. Operation successful, but recovery process after it difficult. Feel severe pain, constant weakness and discomfort. Body struggling with effects of surgery. Mind trying to adjust to what had done. Each day of recovery seems like endless ordeal. However, satisfied that sacrifice not in vain. Money received from sale of kidney almost enough to fully cover cost of child surgery. After several weeks in hospital, although weakened, still relieved. No longer hesitate or procrastinate. After discharge, immediately contact bank. Transferring all money managed to collect to account of fund that collected funds for child surgery. Transfer amount anonymously, not wanting to disclose name. Doesn't matter if Emily found out who saved her baby. All that matters is that child would now have chance at life. When money arrives in account, feel huge weight lifted from shoulders. Have done all could, and now trying to recover both physically and mentally. Life changed, but feel calmer, knowing have done best. Few days after contribution. See new post from Emily on social media. Didn't expect it, but find myself on her page again. Emily writes about how her baby now has chance at life. Thanks to huge anonymous donation. Her words full of emotions. Thanked everyone who supported her in difficult times, but expressed special thanks to unknown person who donated necessary amount to save her child's life. Read her words and feel small smile appear on face. Needed no thanks, but knowing sacrifice had saved life was best reward. Emily couldn't imagine who had helped her, and it didn't matter. Didn't do it for her, but for baby. Now that operation was possible, finally felt some peace in soul. Emily went on to write about how hard it was to deal with situation on own, after Harry left her, and how unknown savior became her guardian angel. She overwhelmed with gratitude, wrote that she would never forget this gesture. Her child finally got chance at life, thanks to someone who chose to stay in shadows, no longer looking at her page. Know that journey with Emily over and no need to go back to past. Had fulfilled duty. Now try to focus on own life, which still remained uncertain. Relationship with Linda, adoptive and at same time biological mother, remained difficult. Now have to find way to build new relationship with her. Life will never be same again. Lost a lot, both physically and emotionally, but at same time gained something important. Sacrifice difficult, but gave new meaning. No longer feel helpless. No longer feel emptiness that tormented after all losses. Finally able to feel had purpose in life, even though very difficult. Know had made right choice. After everything been through, know that many challenges ahead, but now ready to face them. Decision to help child changed forever. Feel that now can start building life anew, with new values and new vision for future. Some time has passed since made anonymous contribution to child surgery. Physical conditions slowly improved, although remain weak after operation. After everything that happened, feel certain inner balance. Although know that new challenges waiting ahead, no longer try to go back to past. Accept fact that relationship with Emily long over. Now only hope that victim had saved child who needed help. No longer follow her life on social media or try to find out how things going. Satisfied that had done duty, now try to find own way. However, past still finds way to come back into life. One day, one of mutual acquaintances, whom had not spoken to for a long time, calls, at first surprised and didn't even want to answer call. But something makes pick up phone. In short conversation, acquaintance says that Emily found out. Who was anonymous person who donated money for operation. News stuns. Never thought it would be known. Did not seek recognition, but now everything has changed. Acquaintance explains that someone had told Emily about what was up to. She's shocked to learn that ex-lover had sold kidney to save their child. Feel mixture of emotions, from surprise to anxiety. Had never expected victim to become known. Now don't know what to expect from Emily. Afraid of her reaction, because not ready for another emotional test. Few days later, Emily finds Alex herself. She calls and asks to meet. Hesitate at first, not knowing what to do, but her voice full of emotion. Feel can't refuse. Agree to meet in park, where used to like to walk together. This place always reminded of calmer time, when relationships still full of hope for future. When arrive at meeting, find Emily looking emotionally drained but incredibly grateful at same time. Her eyes full of tears as she approaches. Before can say word, she wraps arms around, pulling close. Feel her hands tremble, and self-feel wave of emotions that had been trying to keep inside for a long time. Emily cannot hold back tears and begins to thank for what had done. Tells how learned of sacrifice, and that could not believe had taken such step. Her words filled with sincere gratitude, and at same time pain that had to go through all this without support. She admits never expected to care so much for child. Even after all difficulties they had been through. Listen to her in silence, not knowing what to say. Sacrifice dictated not by desire to gain recognition, but by inner sense of responsibility. But fact that Emily grateful melts heart. No longer feel bitterness that haunted after breakup. Now everything different. After long moment of silence, Emily sighs and says something that couldn't even have predicted. She admits that child really mine. In that moment, everything that seemed confusing and painful suddenly makes new sense. Stunned, mind cannot immediately comprehend these words. Emily explains that she was afraid to tell truth at first, because relationship had ended on such bad note, and she didn't want to make life any more difficult. But now that had sacrificed for sake of child, she knew she could no longer keep it to herself. Emily's words turn world upside down, amazed that this child for whom had taken such risky step was own. All emotions felt before, from doubt to wanting to help, now become clear and meaningful. Child mine, and now feel deep responsibility, not only for her life, but also for her future. Alex and Emily sit together for a long time, discussing everything that had happened, share pains and memories, confess what each had experienced in past months. Conversation, which at first seemed difficult, gradually turns into something warm and frank. No longer feel gulf between them that had separated before. On contrary, now see in front of woman once loved, and with whom have child. This conversation becomes turning point for them. Emily says she wants them to be family again. She no longer wants to hide truth, and is ready to give them another chance. Alex, although full of doubts, also feels that does not want to lose this opportunity this time. Now knows that not only has duty to child, but also second chance at happy life with Emily. Alex and Emily decide to start over. Their baby now safe after successful operation, and they both ready to build new life. Although there are still many challenges in their path, Alex feels that they will be able to overcome them together. Past no longer has power over them. Now before them is future full of hope and new possibilities. Life that Alex thought was lost now being restored. Found strength to forgive, accept, and love again. And now that knows that child is his, ready to become real father, devoted and caring. Finally, he and Emily able to find way back to each other. And now their family has new chance at happiness. Alex knows can't move on until resolves last difficult part of life. Relationship with Linda. After found out she was biological mother, world turned upside down. Their relationship, which began as confidential conversation between psychologist and patient, took on completely different meaning. Now cannot simply ignore this truth. Every day feel this unfinished story weighing, preventing from fully enjoying new life with Emily and baby. No have to talk to Linda to dot the ands once and for all. One day, Alex gathers thoughts and calls Linda. She also knows that this conversation necessary. Although both worry about complexity of situation, agree to meet. Not just another conversation, to become important stage in their lives. Attempt to make sense of everything that happened and build new relationship. Alex comes to Linda's apartment feeling tense inside. Linda waiting, looking serious but calm, sit down together at table. Tense silence reigns for several minutes. Both don't know where to start, but Alex eventually speaks first. Starts with how hard it was after found out truth. Talks about shock, pain, doubts, and questions that tormented for days and nights. Linda listens without interrupting, knows he needs to talk, and that's important to both of them. Tears well up in her eyes when Alex finishes. She admits that this situation was also big emotional trauma for her. Linda tells how once, many years ago, was forced to make decision to leave her child because circumstances did not allow to raise son on her own. It was most painful moment of her life, which haunted her every day. She never thought that one day would meet her child, and even more so in this context. Her confession's honest and painful. Tells how felt incredibly sad when realized that Alex was her son, but at same time was afraid to admit it, not knowing how he would react. Linda was afraid of losing him second time, after they had already become close on emotional level. For a long time she hesitated whether to tell him truth, but now that everything out and open, they both found themselves facing reality they could no longer ignore. Conversation difficult for both of them. Many tears, difficult confessions, and long pauses. But in end, Alex feels burden gradually begin to lift from heart. They both admit that they cannot change past, but now they are ready to accept situation as it is. Linda no longer wants to hide her feelings, and Alex also ready to give them another chance at relationship, this time as mother and son. After difficult but sincere conversation, Alex feels relieved, understands that accepting truth was a difficult process, but it was first step to new stage in their lives. Linda also feels that their meeting brought her peace with her own past. She could finally see her son and hope for future where she could be part of him. Alex returns to Emily with feeling that finally got rid of burden that had been bothering him. New life with Emily and baby now seems fuller and brighter. They are finally able to create family they always dreamed of, even if there were obstacles in their way. Time passes, and Alex feels that life gradually becoming more stable. Child for whom he made such great sacrifice recovering from operation and growing stronger every day. Alex is happy father, and now that he knows truth about his paternity, feels even more connected to baby. Together with Emily, they finally found harmony that allowed them to move forward. But story did not end there. Linda now part of their lives as well. Alex invited her into their family, and she began seeing her grandson. At first it was unusual for everyone, but with each new visit, Linda felt that she was gradually beginning to get what she had been deprived of for years. Opportunity to be mother and grandmother. She helped Emily with child, supported them, and it brought her joy. Alex also began to see Linda in new light. No longer saw her as stranger, but now saw her as his mother, albeit one with long history of pain. Their relationship not easy, but they both worked to restore it and rebuild it. Alex understood that past could not be changed, but now they had opportunity to build new future. Over time, their relationship became stronger. Linda was there for them in most difficult moments, continued to support Alex and Emily. She often spent time with her grandson, helped take care of him. Each of their meetings brought joy and warm memories. Alex's life finally gained meaning and stability. He was happy with Emily, loved his child, glad that his family was finally united. No longer felt emptiness that haunted him before. Instead, he felt deeply satisfied that he now had everything he had longed for, loving family and opportunity to build better future. Alex was no longer alone. He found his family, reconnected with Linda, ready for new challenges that life had in store. Despite all hardships he had gone through, now felt that he had everything he needed for true happiness.